Hello everyone, TMan978. Welcome to another TMan978's how-to. In this video, I'm going to be transforming Ocular Max Ventus to vehicle mode, combiner mode. I'm going to show you partially how to get back to vehicle mode if you want to. And then I'm going to make him back into a robot. Basically for combiner mode, you mostly only transform the legs back into a robot. So it is what that is. I've had this thing for like a week or the beginning of this week. But what's been holding me up is figuring out this transformation right here, or getting it as clean looking as I can possibly do. And I think I'm going to do that right now. See his hand, the fists are like this with the thumb out. I'm going to rotate the arm this way. Open this panel, rotate the hand, and shift the hand in with the thumb like that. Now that I've turned that arm like this, it gives a little bit more clearance. This piece right here pulls out on both sides to make that wiggle. But now that we've rotated the arm like this, you have clearance on the back side to rotate that down. Now that we've rotated that down, we can rotate it. I rotated this right here so I can rotate this up into that orientation. We can bring the skid, the landing skid and wheel out. I'm going to rotate it in a bit and elongate this. But now the arm needs to now we can rotate this, lift the arm up, and basically this right here, this part of the arm needs to spin around and meet up with this. But don't peg it in, because this needs to flex and bend for the rest of the transformation, so you could just leave it like that for now. Now I'm going to try that on the other side. I'm going to rotate the arm, open this door, rotate the hand, shove it up into there, which gives me clearance. Wait, after I stretch this away from the arm a bit, now I have clearance to do that. I can do this and kind of bring this in so I can rotate this up. It only rotates in one direction. So if it fights you, don't try to keep rotating it. Bring this landing skid out, rotate it in, and stretch these apart. Now we can get this and rotate this up like that and start spinning this around so it can meet up with that peg. But we could just leave it like that for now. Turn his head around. Take these rotors, which you do have to put into here when you open the box up, because it will not be like that. We can open that up a bit, but not all the way. Go ahead and bring this up, but don't do anything else with that for right now. Here, we need to basically get up under here and get that off, which also removes this piece that was holding on to the pin right here. Is right here. It came off by itself when I just did that. So we can move these out, shut this back, and we have 4 minutes of footage, and I am nowhere in this transformation. But we can lift this up. Go ahead and this piece right here, slide that down, rotate this down, and we can go ahead and pull that out. Now up here, we can, let me make sure it's focused. Bring this down, making sure to clear that on both sides. and push these bits forward until they're snugly wrapped around. Now we can just leave that up like this. So we're good to go there. The back we can lift out, bring this up, bring this out, bring this part down, shut this. You see that detail? And now we can, I guess, grab these things right here, start lifting them up, and we can put those like that while hinging this down to go into that peg hole, because we're good to go right there. Now, this right here, which is scary, grab at the base, like bring in the butterfly bit, this butterfly joint, and just slowly rock that down. Scary. Bring in the butterfly a bit, slowly rock that down. Now, right here, the whole body or upper part of the robot slides. We slide that back, giving us, let me show you from this side, it slides back. I'm trying to make this as smooth as possible, so I'm gonna lift this up and lift these hip skirts up. And now we can rotate, or bring this forward, but rotate the waist around. And we can get this started. I'm gonna put this in this orientation, shut the crotch back down, but lift these flaps up over top of the legs. Lift that up and then hinge this forward. Just put that into that position. It might move around. That's why you normally would do this step later. But now we need to rotate this while rotating the shoulder to get that in. And while we're rotating the shoulder, this piece needs to still be in that orientation so that it can be pegged right there. But that's gonna click in up there, and on the back of the actual shoulder, there's a peg that goes into a hole on the other side. Like that. And now that we have this up in here, we can go ahead and squeeze that together. And it also clicked in this side panel into the side of the helicopter. So let's do that again. Rotate that. Let's start rotating it this way, so it can line up as we spin. And right here, that's gonna need to peg into there. So we can go ahead and take this gun, slide that into there, so we can get that into position. And then down here, peg the peg into there, and start going ahead and shutting all this. And if this isn't flat, we can go ahead and make that flat. But we're good to go here, and we can, this actually bends in 2 spots. Make sure just only the top part bends so we can get that into place. So now we're good to go right there. And like I said, this might move, which it did. And here's another thing that's easy to forget. If you don't have fingernails, use a tool. I'm going to use this gun. You need to push in right there and push in right there. Once you do that, you can actually start shifting the legs up. So push in right there, and then right there. Shift the legs up. down here. We can rotate this into that orientation and rotate that into that orientation. We can open this up and open up over here and start rotating all of that out. If you have it correct, this will all line up right here, and we can go ahead and shut that. Now under here, we can bring this out, and there's a little piece in here that keeps that into place, and we can fold this up. That might fold back because this is loose as crap. Let's do that over here. Bring this down and slide that. Oh wait, I did do that on camera. Bring it down and slide that forward. Bring this up. Open this up. Open this up, and we can go ahead and bring everything back out and line it up right here. Shut that. Open this part up. Open this thing. And now we can mess with this a little bit later, because we now have to start tabbing all of this together. And now that that's tabbed together, we can bring this up, rotate this. These things keep flopping, but this right here elongates. We can rotate it into the position it needs to be, and now we're good right there. Now all of this, which keeps coming apart, this is supposed to be like that. With this like this, we can raise this up into the body and keep going until it clicks. Now we can bend the knees and rotate this inside, which push this out. We need it to be lined up with these two pegs right here on both sides. And now we can shut this. And these two pegs go into the top on both sides. Shut it down. And now I don't know what's going on. This normally clicks down tightly. Oh, it wasn't in right there, so there we go. We got all that going. And for whatever reason, these two things, I guess you could squeeze it tight, but now they don't spin. If you squeeze it too tight, you can bring it out, and there we go. Now normally these are down so it can get a nice clean look, but if you want to put the guns on, we need to bring that out. Bring that out. Take the gun, see which side it bends on. I believe they are symmetrical, so it doesn't really matter which gun you grab, as long as it bends forward like this. And now is the full look right there. For the life of me, I have not been able to get these wheels to really roll, so that is what that is right there. Okay, now combiner mode. I am going to lift back up on this, open this up, open that up a bit, and start closing onto that and lifting this up. Just have it like that for now. I'm gonna take these off, even though you can't put them back on. Shut that. Get this off, unpegged off of there, and stretch all of this back out once again. going to untab or unclip these and put them down. This crotch can flip around like that and come into that orientation. This part can rotate and just bring this back like that. Now up here we can separate these, bring that back up, fold this under like that, and this can go back into that orientation. These can shut and just rotate out to the side. And to be honest with you, if you could get this like that, you don't really have to do anything else with that. You could leave it like this, but I'll come back to that and get to the official transformation. But let's separate all of this. I should have probably brought this back out, but I'm gonna squeeze that tight and mess with that later. Bring these down, which they probably would do it by themselves anyway. I'm going to start with this side. Open that up. Flip this back around. Now we're gonna open this. Start, like, open that up. But up here, we are now going to put this into this orientation, put that into that orientation to basically give us room to be able to rotate this part of the hand out and get that inside of there. Now we're going to pretend we are about to change it back into a robot again. But now this piece needs to sit up so that this can go inside and not be hanging out. And this can lift up. And this tab right here goes into that slot. But now we have that like all the way in there, but make sure that this is out. Same thing over here. We're going to shut this, rotate this up like that. We can rotate this down, and I'm gonna mess with the rest of that later. But basically open this up, get this out the way, and make sure that this goes under here. Do this, rotate that, rotate the hand out this way. Start bringing this around. Open this up. Get that in there and tab everything right here. And honestly, we can bend this and rotate that like this. Before you close this back together and form the full hand, I suggest opening these fingers. And look at my hands. This robot has been scratching me up. So now my hands are ashy. Get that in there like that. And now we can bring the two sides together, making sure that this tabs together. And once you get this together, start rotating the hand. That will really solidify the connection, because these tabs and the tabs in this area doesn't really solidify it. But you know what? There was one more step up in here. We need to bring these hip flaps down. If you don't do that, you won't have elbow rotation. like I said, you could be good to go like this, but officially we are supposed to untransform this part right here, which is easier said than done. So I'm gonna start untransforming things. You can leave the gun there if you want, but basically I want enough clearance to be able to get this top part and this. We need this to clear this section right here, which I don't know if I'm showing you the best way. Yeah, there we go. Get that to clear. Get this pretty much in there like that. And now this thing formed a tab, which if you bend this correctly, it will fit into a hole right there. Now that will stop the rotors from moving. You can leave the gun in there. At least that's what I was shown. And now this is the official way for this to be transformed. I personally don't like all of this look, and you can see the hands. I guess it wouldn't make too much of a difference once it's fully combined, but yeah, this isn't what the original cartoon or toy looked like, because the toy didn't transform like that. But once you pinch everything, you're good to go. It should have all full range of all that and whatnot. And at this point, I'm gonna go back to robot mode, to be honest, because it's still mostly a helicopter up front. You basically have to just put this back over there, shove this in, like I've already shown you. But I'm gonna open this up a bit to get clearance. And I'm going to rotate things this way. We can rotate the hand back into this orientation so that it can separate. This crotch piece can flip and go into that orientation. But I will, like I said, I will show one if you want. This needs to be like this and back like that. Rotate this in, open this panel, can start rotating this out the way so we can get this back out and get this, oops, his hand open, frick. Get that back in. But in order to get it back into a helicopter, we need to have the feet into that position. And is this bent the right way? No, it's not. That needs to be like that. So we can get this grooved like that. Fold this out, do all that. And basically, this panel that we lift up for combined mode needs to shut so that that can go in there. So basically, that's what you need to do besides this to get it back into helicopter mode. But I lift that up for robot mode. Let's get them back into robot mode. Just rotate this through here. All the way. Come on. Go through here all the way. Here's what's happening. There is let me zoom in on it. A peg right here that needs to go into there. This needs to be shut so we can get that onto there. We can lift this up, lift the toe up. Make sure that that's down so that we can fold this in and get this tabbed into the places it needs to be tabbed into. And the leg can elongate. After you elongate it, rotate it, and those buttons we pushed in on the sides come out. Let's do that stuff over here. Fold the fingers up like this. Now we need to unpeg this. We can start rotating this so we can push this out. And basically, it's already transformed. We just need to rotate this into here. Shut this so we can get this back over there. And make sure that that peg is into the hole right here. Get the toes back forward. And on this side, make sure everything lines up. And here you are. Stretch this out, rotate. All right. Up here, we are going to, the back is where it needs to be honest. Besides this part, I'm going to bring this back, bring this up into here. This piece right here needs to fit up into there. And now we can get these blades up here. And we're good to go right there. Right here. This needs to basically separate on both sides. And we can start pulling away. Get that gun out of here. And now the shoulder needs to rotate outward. And we can start, or we can push this forward again and start rocking this back up into place. Make sure that the butterfly joint is still kind of forward. Get that all the way into place. We can bring this down, which won't shut if you aren't paying attention. That was driving me nuts. It needs to bend on that top hinge, but before that, we might as well lift this panel up. Okay. The arms. We need to rotate these things this way. Then we can get that out, rotate it this way. We need to turn this around so that the hand is forward again. Bring this in. And now we should have clearance to rotate this panel down. Bring it in like that. And we should have the clearance to do this. Shut the arms back like that. Bring the hand in, shut that. Rotate this around so we can get the elbow, rotate that around. And we're good to go. Let's try that again, a little bit smoother. You can rotate this out the way. Rotate this way, and like that. Rotate the shoulder down. So many rotations. I'm gonna rotate the arm until this is visible, because that gives us clearance to be able to do this. Bring that forward, and it should give us clearance to flip this up. All right, bring the hand down, shut that, rotate the arm, rotate the hand, and we can go ahead and squeeze this thing back in on both sides so it's not rolling all over the place. Now this guy, we need to take these two things, bring them out, bring those all the way out and forward. Rotate this down and over that. His abs are they all the way straight? No, they're hunched forward for some reason. Come on. I don't think I had this. I didn't have this pushed up. But bring that down. Bring that all the way over this. That's what I think I didn't do. This was still. Oh, now I can't grab that shit. Yeah, I think my problem was was still down. Have that up so we can clear all of this. And now things should line up right here with this tapping into there and that grabbing those pins right there. Sheesh. Now we can turn this around. Good freaking Lord. I'm tired. I have over 33 minutes of footage. I don't know how many of those minutes I'm cutting out, but I'm looking at 34 minutes now. These guns can fit here if you want, but like I'll complain about in my full review, they do not stay in there tight at all on my copy. And whatever you want to do with this gun. But he's a robot again, and I hope I was helpful. Anyhow, something else looks like it's not right to me. I don't know if this was like this the whole time and I just didn't pay attention to it. But I don't remember those gaps. I'll have to look at my footage when I go back. No, there we go. That went up. This was down, I pushed it up. Anyhow, and I didn't transform this. And these keep falling off because like I said, at least. Now, I'm done. He's a robot. He's a robot. Thank you for watching this. Until next time, TMan978 out of here.
Figure action.
Join the Syndicate Toy Hunters Facebook group. Link in the description.
Click the videos. Click the videos, baby. Click the videos. You should really click these videos. Click the videos. Click those videos, baby. Click the videos.